Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Arrow After Show here on my YouTube channel. Greetings, everybody. My name is John Campia. I am going to be your host this evening as we talk about all things Arrow as I slap my glasses on because monitor light gives me headaches. Anyway, there we go. So thanks so much for being here, guys. We're so glad that you're joining us tonight for this Season 2, Episode 19, also known as The Man Under the Hood. Thanks for joining us here, guys. It is Wednesday, April the 16th, 2014, and we just finished watching tonight's episode of Arrow. You guys just finished watching tonight's episode of Arrow. We're so glad you're here to talk to us about the show tonight, and I'm going to introduce to you those people sitting here with me tonight. Sitting on my immediate right, first of all, is Kaori. Kaori, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm so happy to be here. Great show.
And with her, of course, is Anne.
What's up, Arrowheads?
I like that little dance you do. That's the same dance you did when Stephen Amell sent you the birthday message.
Yes, which I think we should watch that every episode.
I think, yeah, that's how we should.
We should open with
That's how we should start every episode.
Happy birthday, Anne.
From Stephen Amell. Happy birthday.
After a fight scene, exhausted.
So yeah, we're here to talk about tonight's episode. First of all, thank you guys for joining us in the chat board. There's already hundreds of you in there. We're going to talk about Arrow tonight. We're going to talk about the things we liked about the show. We're going to talk about the things we didn't like about the episode, what we thought could have been done better, about our overall impressions. And then what we're going to do is we are going to save the last part of the show to just take your questions from the chat board. So if you're watching us live, you can, don't fire in questions yet, but near the end of the show, you can fire in questions there, and we'll address questions and your thoughts and comments as well on the show. So, Anne, let's start with you.
All right.
Really, I mean, we're coming off of the bye week, if you will. Last week there was no episode of Arrow. So, your impressions of this week's episode of Arrow.
Okay, general, or are we going with positives first?
We're going to go with positives first.
Okay, so I generally liked the episode. I think the tone was setting us up for the beginning of the end, so to speak. We see what Deathstroke is up to, building his army. But I think the two scenes that I really enjoyed in this episode were, one, that badass battle in the arrow cage, the quiver, or whatever you guys want to call it.
Especially when they started going at it with the pipes.
Yes.
That was beautifully. That might have been, I don't know if it was Stephen Amell or somebody else tweeted, best fight choreography we've ever had on the show. And although it was short, I agree. That was the best fight choreography we've seen in the show so far. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, and like many things in the show, I think the choreography and the stunts have gotten infinitely better. So I was really impressed with that, and I like seeing that even to this point, Deathstroke can kick all of their asses. I was actually really nervous about Felicity, knowing that, you know, she's the weakest link in that group, and she was huddled in the corner, but luckily he left before he could do anything to her. So that was one scene that I really enjoyed. The other one was Quentin Lance. That speech he gave to Laurel was one of my favorite show. I think he delivered it perfectly. Sure, it was kind of Commissioner Gordon-esque, but I think that's what was needed in this scene. And I think he was convincing. For Laurel to know and to have put the pieces together in this episode that Oliver is Deathstroke is a big deal. And her being emotionally unstable, she could have taken that and went to the media or did whatever she wanted to do with that piece of news. And I think Quentin came in at the right time and said, hey, I don't want to know who that is, but I do feel for him for this and whatever else reason. So it hit me. I mean, and I'm a big fan of the actor too, so I really like seeing him give that speech to Laurel and her being convinced that this is what I'm going to do with this piece of information, and it'll be interesting to see how we move on with that. So those are the two key pieces of the show that I loved.
Kaori, what about you?
I agree with you on all those, as well as I liked in the very beginning where the whole team, not just the three strongest ones, but Felicity as well, were all in black and in motion. That was cool. I liked how Laurel's character, she was putting the pieces of the puzzle together. She wasn't right away, okay, Slade is right. She was trying to make sure that this was all true.
And is the music playing?
And I also, I also like Isabel. We see more of her backstory, more of her motivation, why she's so pissed and upset and what's going on, how nasty she is because she slept with not only Oliver's dad, but Oliver as well.
There's nothing nothing says having
that
a
was
good
coming.
day like finding out you have had your dad's sloppy seconds.
Yeah.
That's a day you need therapy for.
I mean, that's a pretty low blow. I like how there was that crossover with the Flash. Felicity enlists Caitlin and Cisco at Star Labs for that help for the cure later on. And there's the Iris. What's the word? They talk about
Easter
Iris.
egg?
Yeah, Easter egg, Iris
Yeah.
Easter egg, and Barry Allen. And I mean, there's a lot of good things going on in this episode that I really enjoyed. And I like how at the end we see Slade with his super soldier army, and then one addition, which is Isabel.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the episode. That fight in the down in the Arrow Cave, for lack of a better term, was a great fight. Seeing him that shot of Sarah diving over the table to attack Slade and him catching her, it was a very WWE moment.
I liked it.
Him catching her midair by the throat and then throwing her. The way he just manhandled Diggle, and then made pretty short work of Arrow too, of Ollie. He just made really short work of him, just increasing this menacing factor of him. And now, if they hadn't set up the show differently, we might have then asked at that moment, well, why didn't he just kill them all and been done with it? Because that's not his plan. He wants to drag this out. He wants to torture Oliver. He wants Oliver to see him burn his city to the ground. So that all made sense logically as well. I liked, I don't get to say this often this season, I liked Laurel. I thought she actually didn't annoy me. And I agree with you, the fact that she was following up on this accusation that Slade dropped on her. She wanted to put the pieces together herself, and I appreciated that. I liked the conversation she had with Lance in the prison about, I know who the Arrow is, and he goes, no, I can't know because this, and this. I thought that was a really good conversation. She clearly knows her sister is Canary at this point. She put that together as well, and yet she decided to keep it from Oliver at the same time, and I liked that. That didn't seem weird to me. That didn't seem stupid to me. I really liked Roy this episode. He didn't say a word, so thumbs up for that. What are some of the other things here? I thought the revelation of Summer Glau's affair with Amel's dad was a little bit too, I'm the bad guy. Now I'm going to explain everything to you in a convenient 30-second package.
Now you're getting into the negatives, though.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay. And I was so happy, not because I don't like Summer Glau's character, but when Diggle wasted her, I thought, whoa, didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Holy crap, that's so awesome. Wait a minute. They copped out of that at the end and given her the Mirakuru as well. So, okay, whatever. That's fine. I thought Thea's performance in this episode might have been the best performance she's given in this show so far. Honestly, I think she played that role better this episode than I've seen her play her character in any other episode. That being said, I'm still kind of annoyed by Thea, but we'll get to that in a little bit on the negatives. But I want to mention that I thought for the first time in this entire series, and I've liked Thea's character here and there, but the actress, and I don't know the actress's name off the top of my head, but
Willa Holland.
is that her name?
Yeah.
Well, I thought she gave the best performance that she's ever given in this show in this episode. And so that was a really big positive. Slade is always a big positive. So yeah, lots of really good things to like about the episode. So let's get into the negatives. Kaori, let's start with you.
Okay.
The negatives about this episode of Arrow.
I only wrote down one thing, and this is me being nitpicky, but the whole papers and how Thea had to sign the papers and how that just kept not happening because she was angry about her father. But that's not what really bothered me. What bothered me, it's really nitpicky, was when Ollie is trying to get Thea to sign the papers and he goes down to Verdun to go get them. He accidentally leaves the papers on the shelf when he's chasing her, and then it's just like they're not taking care of those papers. Those papers are very important. That's his trust and his savings right there, and that just bothered me. But that's just me being nitpicky. But that's
Anne?
really it.
I agree with you, John, on the fact that Isabel kind of gave up her background so easily.
Oh yeah.
You know,
It was so convenient. It was
Yeah.
way too much blatant exposition in one scene to here. Oh, a problem with the narrative? Let me wrap it up for you in a nice little bow right away.
Well, I think that it was probably because hell has no fury, like a woman's scorn, and she's already pretty much has everything that she thinks that she worked hard for, including taking over the Queen Company. So I was okay with it.
I'm being told that we have some music playing, and I don't know where. I'm not clicking anything. We're not turning music on. So I don't know where that's coming from, guys. Sorry, but apparently music is popping on. But you're telling me to turn it off. I can't turn it off because I never turned it on.
Is the Arrow theme on?
No. I mean, look, when I stop talking, no audio on the bar. So I don't know what's going on. I'm not turning any music on, so I don't know where that's coming from. So maybe we'll discover by the end of the show. I don't know. Anyway, sorry, Anne, go keep going with your with the negatives.
Yeah, thanks for letting us know, guys. We'll figure it out. All right, so in addition to that, I thought somebody else divulged information way too quickly, and being of the healthcare field, I thought the doctor easily told Laurel all the information about Sarah. She could have been anybody walking into the hospital, and the fact that, oh, you're her sister? Okay, well, this, and this, and by the way, your sister also has this, and this problems. And I'm like, you're not a real doctor. That wouldn't have been done in that manner, so that kind of bothered me just because of my line of work. Also, a lot of nitpicky stuff like Thea stacking the alcohol in the club in the back so nicely and neatly onto these shelves. Like, I'm thinking, I don't think that's how you stack alcohol, especially when it's not being seen. Especially if there's an earthquake or something. You know, maybe the earthquake machine's going to go off again. Those bottles are just going to fall and crack. And Roy's purpose, while I liked it because he wasn't really doing anything, I have that on my negative. I know, I'm sorry you guys hate when we hate on Roy, but I kind of wish that Oliver left Roy there.
No.
Yeah.
No, because that helps catapult Deathstroke into being more evil, that he manipulated Roy and said, I'm ready to dispose of him. So it was good for Deathstroke's purpose, if anything. And I like Roy. But.
For me, the negatives of the episode, I mean, we already mentioned the whole thing about the whole I'm going to lay this out for you thing from Summer Glau. So that was kind of what you're right about the doctor. I didn't even think about that doctor thing. True. Oh, hello, random stranger. Yes, let me tell you, screw patient-doctor confidentiality. Let me tell you all about that patient's medical history. That was kind of weak. And getting to Thea again. Now, I already mentioned, I thought the actress gave us the best performance she's given in the episode or in this series so far, and I really, really like that. However, that being said, I don't like the way the writers handled. I'm sorry, guys. We're only 1.5 seasons in, maybe 1 3/4 seasons in. How many times are we going to go through? Thea's mad at her mom. How many times are we going to go through this?
I agree with you.
Thea's now disowned her mom. Mm-hmm. Now Thea's really disowned her mom. Now Thea feels betrayed by her mom. How many times are we going to go through this? Like, I'm beyond bored with it. I'm fatigued by it. So, and now I'm just tuning out. So, I mean, no, I get it narrative-wise. She just found out that there was a secret. Somebody else was her dad. I get that. That's a totally valid reason. The problem is you've cried wolf so many times in the show. You've gone to that well of Thea's now mad and disowning her mom thing. We've done that 4 or 5 times already in the show, and we're only 1.5 seasons in. So yeah, like I said, I'm beyond bored of it. I'm getting fatigued of it. To me, that was the biggest problem with this episode is like, come on, guys, get over this. Mm-hmm. Get over this. Like, just quit using this as a convenient little plot device because I'm tired of it. You've just gone to the well on this one way too many times already for it to be effective anymore. Because, you know, if you hadn't done it 3 other times already, and you just now is when she's disowning her mother, it would have had real dramatic impact. But the fact that you've used it so many times already, totally none. Had no dramatic impact on the story, on the show, on anything whatsoever because, ho hum, we've been there, we've done that. So that would be one of my negatives. I'm also a little bit turned off by this whole thing. Wait a minute, all Slade has to do to make other super soldiers is infuse some of his blood into the other guys. That's really, you don't need Mirakuru anymore. You just need his blood. That seems a little convenient. Mm-hmm. And you know, why does he have to make 8 at once? Couldn't he have just drawn a little blood and stuck one guy, waited next week, drawn more blood, stuck? Like I'm maybe I'm missing something there. Maybe I'm missing
You're
something.
building an army. You want them all there at the same time, don't you?
Well, you could be patient. I mean, he's waited years. I mean, I can wait. I'll draw some blood, wait a day or two till I replenish myself. Then I'll do another one.
I think if there's one negative to the Mirakuru at the so Isabel's shot twice, and all of a sudden, Mirakuru, and she's okay.
And isn't it like not everyone can handle Mirakuru as well? That's what I thought it was at first.
Yeah, some people die.
So, and what do you guys think of the island scenes? Because we didn't talk about that.
Anne?
Trying to think of what I have.
I mean, I get it in the sense that they wanted the island scene because the island scenes in this episode, its purpose was to introduce us to the notion that there is a cure for the Mirakuru.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm.
But it introduces a problem. Now, Oliver says the reason he hasn't brought it up before is because he was ashamed. Okay, they need to go more into this. But it presents a problem in the sense that if Oliver was so concerned about Roy got the Mirakuru and that it's going to destroy him and it's going to do all this bad stuff to him, and they had the Solomon Grundy character and all this kind of stuff, why was this notion not brought up before? Mm-hmm. If there is actually some way to construct a cure, why did Oliver not mention this, bring it up, consider it when Roy got infected with it? So I'm hoping in future episodes, preferably next week, that they address that and give a real legit reason why, that makes sense why Oliver wouldn't want to cure Roy. That makes sense why he thinks trying to make the cure becomes impossible. I don't know, but it's going to have to be a good reason because otherwise he's a bit of a dick for letting Roy just self-destruct with the Mirakuru if he knew there was a thing. So I do hope that they address that. But, I mean, overall, I really liked the episode. I thought it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Is it my favorite of the season? No. Is it in my top 3 of the season? No. But I still think it was a really solid episode. And it raised a lot of questions. It raised a lot. And it was nice, too, to see Moira and Oliver working together again.
Yeah.
But it always, once again, back to the Thea thing, it always feels like one of the 3 has to be on the outs with the other 2. Either Thea and Ollie are mad at Moira, or Moira and Thea are mad at Ollie, or it's like, just get over this part. Yeah. It was nice to see that Oliver's got over his little bitch tantrum with his mom, and that they're fine now, and that's kind of cool seeing them working together again. So, yeah, just any other thoughts overall, running it down?
Yeah,
I just remembered something. What did you guys think of Star Labs being set in a Costco?
Yeah, that's the first thing Anne said. We're watching the show, and Anne's like, that's a Costco. I mean,
that is clearly a Costco.
Clearly a Costco that they're in. So, hey, you shoot where you can shoot, I guess.
I mean, but I do like that, they changed their minds about bringing Barry back onto the show, and saving his appearance for the pilot, and us knowing that he's still passed out somewhere in Central City. But it was nice, like you said, that they brought the 2 characters that eventually will be on the Flash pilot. So it's a little subtle introduction for those of us that are following Arrow that are planning to see the pilot too.
It felt a little product placement-y for me with the 2 new characters. It was so obvious. Oh, this is where I met Barry. How's Barry? Dropping the Iris name. These 2 characters are clearly, I could be wrong, but these 2 new characters, clearly they're going to be Flash characters.
You know what they reminded me of?
What's that?
The scientist twin friend, whatever, from S.H.I.E.L.D.
S.H.I.E.L.D., yeah.
Yes.
They annoyed me. They almost annoyed me as much.
They felt more animated, more cartoony, and it was a different kind of feel than the other characters. But that they're going to play an important role moving forward. I liked it.
And they're trying to set, I know, even with Barry, when Barry was on the show, there was kind of like a cheesy undertone about it. And so they kind of try to do the same thing with these 2 characters. So I guess maybe it's just me.
I get kind of turned off when it's clearly, this is just a product placement. We're trying to shamelessly bump the upcoming Flash pilot.
I think for a lot of people, it's like, "Ooh, that's awesome that they're putting that in there."
Yeah, yeah. It's like to me, it's like shaking keys in front of a puppy. Ooh, ooh. Like I don't know. I'm not turned on by
That's
it.
a simple life.
All right, guys. Hey, listen. We said we would leave some time at the end of the show to take your questions and your thoughts. So do me a favor. If you're in the chat board now, go ahead and send in your question. Do me a favor though. Format it by writing in capital letters question dash and then write your question or your thought or your comment. And Anne is going to keep her eye on that chat board as we go and move forward with that. I just want to add one more thing, though, too. Watching more and more of the island scenes with Oliver and Sarah and watching Sarah, I am still convinced. I know you totally disagree with me, Kaori. Oliver and Sarah make the much better couple than Oliver and anybody else on this show would make. Better than anybody else on this show. Like I mean, maybe I wouldn't mind. Yeah. I'm totally against the whole Oliver and Felicity relationship because they have such a beautiful relationship right now. I don't want to see that ruined. I do not like him with Laurel. I'm happy for Oliver that he banged Summer Glau. That was cool. Well done, Oliver. But I never want to see him in a relationship with her.
I don't think Oliver belongs with anyone but me. Okay.
All right, guys, we're going to throw over to you guys in the chat board, and people are asking questions already. So what do we got?
Dave Langer asked, do you think it would be a good twist to have Slade have Oliver pick who dies between Sarah and Felicity? Then the one he chooses to save is actually the one that Slade ends up killing.
Well, for just ignoring the second part of your question, I hadn't considered that. But that would be beautiful, terrible irony. If Slade, like whether it's Felicity and Sarah or Sarah and Laurel, I mean, I'm still crossing my fingers desperately that they don't kill off the Sarah character because she, aside from Diggle, is my favorite side character in this show. But if they are going to kill her off, and if they do, that would be a tremendous way to do it, that he puts Oliver in the same position again, that he has to pick and choose one, and somehow, some way, Sarah ends up getting killed. Then if Oliver or if Slade decides too bad, you wanted to save that one, well, I'm going to kill that one. Huh, I don't know. I don't know, and I don't care. I don't think Slade would do that. There's a twisted honor to Slade, a very weird twisted honor. He keeps his word. All that kind of nonsense. So I have a feeling he wouldn't do that, but it would be, I would hate it and I would cry in my pillow if they killed off Sarah, but it would be a tremendous plot device if they did it that way. What do you guys think?
I think that hopping onto that idea, which is possible and very twisted and interesting, it'd be crazy if Slade made Oliver shoot the gun while he was making that choice, considering that in the island scenes, Oliver was the one that decided to shoot Professor Ivo. I don't know. I'm just thinking crazy right now, but
all right,
crazy.
What else do we got?
I think you guys are writing an awesome show. I think the people in our chat, if they wrote Arrow, it would be so badass because whether or not that actually happens, that's such a good plot twist if they did that.
It would be really cool.
The next question comes from Renwick Davis, who asked, do you think it was stupid for Thea to not sign the papers? I know she's angry, but to basically throw away everything your family has is just incredibly nonsensical and bratty.
It's just another example of the misuse of the Thea character. Yeah, I thought that exact thing. Yep. It's like, I get it, she's mad, and I get it, she's angry, and I get it that she's young. But at some point, something is such common sense. She would have stopped, signed the papers, and still been mad. The fact that they still haven't had her sign the papers to me is just silly. It's just silly and ridiculous. Thea is not 12. She's not 10. And that's part of my objection to the way the show handles the Thea character, is quite often they treat her and they have her portrayed as if she's a 7-year-old tantrum child, when she is more than that. And I wish they would treat her a little bit better than that. So yeah, I did find that to be stupid. I thought that was a flaw in the episode.
Yeah, I agree with you. That was one of my negatives. Why isn't she signing the papers? Why are they leaving the papers downstairs with the alcohol? Just sign the papers. It shouldn't be so difficult. They gave you your life. They gave you everything. They're trying to prove to you that you're not alone. Yeah, you didn't know that your father wasn't Robert Queen, but they loved you and they chose you to be in this family. So eventually you're going to have to sign those papers, at least.
Somebody's asking in the chat board, now that Laurel knows Peter McEwen, I think it is in the chat board, is asking, now that Laurel knows Oliver's secret, could that bring it closer to her dying? I hadn't thought about that, but you know what? Yeah, once somebody knows it gets close to Oliver and something, that puts them in prime killing off potential. So I think you're right. It's possible.
I think the fact that she hasn't disclosed the information that she knows to Oliver keeps her safe, if that makes sense.
But at the same time, she did kind of... Like, I'm sorry, Oliver has to be able to put two and two together here. When she met him on the rooftop, she's like, I couldn't figure out why I felt this connection to you, and now I know. And then she got the call, oh my God. So what, did the conversation just stop there? What? I mean, I hope Oliver, at some point, I hope Oliver is smart enough to start to be able to connect the dots that maybe Laurel's onto what's going on.
But he's so distracted right now.
He is, he's very distracted. Okay, what else we got?
Let's see. I had another question from Peter McEwen. I guess he's going to get two of them in. Do you think they will have Oliver be broke next year?
I don't think so.
Funny.
I don't think so. I think part of Oliver being able to do what he does requires a lot of money. It requires the club. It requires all that wonderful gadgetry that they've got. It requires him being able to pay Felicity and Diggle and all them. So I don't think they'll go that route, no.
As I drink my water, yes, I think they're going to go that route.
Really?
I think if they're going to follow comic book canon, they're going to go that route, and they're going to show Oliver at his weakest point. And if Slade is able to take anything away from him from the season, whether it's a person or his finances, I think for sure it's going to be his money. Because there's a really cool, if you guys read the comics, there's a really cool dynamic that you see Oliver coming back from the island and trying to cope with not being the billionaire playboy that he once was. So I'd love to see that in season 3, and I really think it's going to happen.
Oh.
See, and it's the whole point about Slade really wants to hit Oliver where it hurts. I think he knows Oliver's over the money thing. I think now to Oliver, money's a tool now. I see. I don't see him being the rich playboy guy, and I think Slade knows that, and I don't think Slade taking his money really hurts him all that much. But you might be right. We'll have to see. Okay, what's next?
Ben Kennedy asks, will they introduce Rose Wilson?
I have no idea.
Well, there were all those pictures that said possibly Isabel might be her, but don't know.
I don't know if the actual character of Rose Wilson, but I think the concept of her, I still think Isabel is related to Slade Wilson, because why would he go out of his way to become so vulnerable to save her if she didn't mean something to him? So I think that Isabel is still related to him in some way, whether it's his daughter or whomever. But I think she will keep the name Isabel Rochefs. I don't think they'll start calling her Rose Wilson. I think she's one and the same character.
She's had some pretty good lines in this episode, by the way, when she was talking about how she has everything. She thinks she's pretty successful.
and if you guys have been keeping up with social media, I've got several people tweeting me the pictures that somebody took of who is apparently Summer Glau in the Ravager costume. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I mean, it's with the whole ending of this episode and her having the Mirakuru now injected in her. I think it's pretty clear. Although, watch now, they're going to throw us a curveball and say it's not.
Do you think she's still going to be mentally able to run Queen's Consolidate still with the Mirakuru in her?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I think she's going to go crazy.
Yeah.
I think. Well, listen, folks, that'll do it. We're at a half hour. We're all out of time. Thank you, guys. By all means, keep the conversation going, talking the chat board and stuff like that. Remember, this is a great show, and great shows need and deserve our support. So just become an Arrow evangelist. Let people know how cool this show is and that they should be watching it. And once they do, they should then tune in and watch the Arrow After Show. So thanks a lot for joining us, guys. I want to thank the people with me at the desk. First of all, of course, is Kaori. Kaori, where can people find you online?
You can find me right down here, KAORIOUS, on Twitter as well as Instagram.
And where can people find you?
You can find me on all the social media channels at Ann Campia.
And you can find me on also all the various social media channels at John Campia. So thanks a lot for joining us, guys. We will be back again next week. I believe Steve and Amel tweeted out that it's no more weeks off. We got 5 weeks of new episodes.
Yes.
So we'll be back again next week. We'll look forward to seeing you then. So until next time, my name is John Campia for the Arrow After Show. And until then, bye-bye.